address the Abrahamic Covenant. We're just going to start it today. We're finishing next week. So when we talk about the Abrahamic Covenant, I'm only using that term because that's what your Christian family and friends are going to understand. We just went through precept upon precept. We're under Adam's covenant. Adam is the firstborn of the Most High's creation. We are Adam's sons. So we're really under Adam's covenant, but for seminary purposes and to talk to your Christian family and friends, we're going to use Abrahamic Covenant. So let's go to Battle Sheet 15 and 4. Because what they're going to tell you about the Abrahamic Covenant is it's just about faith. Everybody of faith is Abraham's sons. So let's see if the book agrees with that. Genesis 15 and 4, or Battle Sheet 15 and 4. Is the Abrahamic Covenant all about faith? Or can this Greco-Roman ideology of faith make you a son of Abraham? Let's see if the book agrees. Genesis 15 and 4. Shema.
Shema.
Read.
And behold, the word of YAH came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
Come forth out of where?
Your own bowels.
Own bowels mean loins.
Loins.
How do you got anybody of faith as Abraham's sons? You're telling the Most High he's alive. That's why I told y'all last week, y'all worried about some of our Israelite brothers, Salakia. Y'all worried about some of our Y'all worried about some of our brothers cursing, using four-letter words. You're calling the Most High a liar. You think you better than them? Because you got a collar on, you got a little Greco-Roman degree. Well, I don't curse. But you said the Most High is a liar. Abraham's going to have seed from his own loins. It's not about no faith.
That's right.
Let's continue on, family. Now, no, don't y'all get excited as I am. You know, this truth is like fire. You know, you got to talk to them calmly because they get intimidated. But we're going to run this down. Now, let's go to, drop down to verse 12 through 18. Same chapter, 12 through 18.
Verse 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
So, family, the seminary preachers believe this is Egypt. We were not afflicted in Egypt 400 years. We were not afflicted in Egypt 400 years. I saved that for a later class. The most we could say we were afflicted in Egypt is like 115 years. Because as long as the patriarchs was alive, we had favor. Then, that picture I showed y'all on my laptop, our real land, Goshen is ours. So we wasn't in a foreign land. That's why we got to learn the patriarchs. When we go back to Jubilees or Jasher, and Noah gave out the inheritance to the boys, Shem's land is from Goshen all the way to Iraq, to the Garden of Eden. So Goshen was not a foreign land to us. So the 400-year affliction is not Egypt. Where's the 400-year affliction at?
Here.
It's here. It's here. Let's finish this up. Verse 14.
What chapter? I'm sorry, I'm not so smart.
Genesis 15 and 14.
15 and 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation there shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
We're going to finish up to 18, Elder.
Okay. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day, YAH made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
This is our whole inheritance, but it's not Abraham's inheritance, it's Shem. Now go back up to verse 12. It says, this is Genesis 15 and 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Abram doesn't have a covenant. How's this the Abraham covenant? He's asleep. He's not sacrificing. The Most High, Abram brought the pieces, but the Most High did the sacrifice while he was asleep. We're not under Abraham's covenant. We're under Adam's covenant. Abraham was asleep when the Most High is talking to him, saying, your sons are going to be strangers in a foreign land. Goshen is not foreign. If Goshen is foreign, why Jacob send the boys to Egypt to get grain?
I wasn't here for part of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're under the covenant with Adam?
We're under Adam's covenant. It's just that the covenant keeps being tagged by the most current righteous son of Adam. So because Abraham was that, well, first it was before Abraham, we had Enoch. Enoch was, in his generation, he was the righteous seed. Then after Enoch, we had come to Noah. Then Noah, then we finally get to Abraham. But really, all of those are Adam's sons. All of those are Adam. So we're under Adam's covenant. And had Adam missed it, the second Adam came to restore us. So we're going back to Eden. Eden is the kingdom of heaven. Eden is the kingdom from heaven. Eden is the kingdom from heaven.
Okay, I guess I understand what you're saying about it's all under Adam because they're all Adam's seed.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a little bit shocked right there for a second because it's like, what? But what about scripture that talks about the renewed cup, when Messiah took the cup and said, this is the blood of my new covenant, or renewed covenant.
Renewed covenant.
You know?
So the first Adam missed it, and then one of Yeshua's title is the second Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't the text say the second Messiah or the second Moses, the second Masha? Everything is coming from Adam. The first Adam missed it. The second Adam got it right.
I guess in this I respectfully disagree with that, only because in the book, in verse 18 in the Genesis,
let's get there.
So Genesis 15 verse 18.
Genesis 15, 18?
Because I guess a preface to say this, I understand where you're coming from, that it was made with Adam first.
Right.
And this whole saga that we're in, one, this is a prison sentence. Like it's talking about here, 5,500 years, you're going to serve your time. Right? And so this whole saga is to bring us back to there. So that first covenant is what we're going back to. But reading this first. It says, in the same day, Yah made a covenant with Abram. Now, I guess it could be a matter of semantics, but there were covenant bearers.
Right.
These are the covenant bearers, so
right.
that's how the covenant is identified.
Right.
So, I think in the Adamic covenant and what he was doing there, in the end, like we read in Revelations, we'll get back there because when the covenant was initially made with Adam, he was in an immortal state. He wasn't immortal. So and when he broke the covenant, and the penalty was he got kicked out of the garden, bringing us back to, excuse me, I lost my thought. But bringing us back to Revelations, when Yeshua, in these scriptures, or in Revelations, we're back in that state, in a mortal state. We're not mortals at that point. So it fits that covenant. I agree with you that we're going back to the initial covenant, but in between the covenant bearers, there were specific conditions for those covenants.
Right.
That were identified by the covenant bearer. Right.
And how can we so what Elder is saying is right on point. He called out certain righteous men and made covenants with them, but in according to our culture, everybody after Elder, everybody after him is really his son. So in Israel, like how we give our lineage, everything I do is really my Father. So it's the same thing, even though we have specific, like you're saying, covenant bearers or markers, it's Adam. It's really with Adam, because Adam was the first creation, and it's like, how can I say this? So we can't throw away it's not that you can't make more covenants, but all of these other covenants with the other sons is pretty much what's the word I'm looking for? A continuation of the Adam covenant, because they belong to Adam.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying there's not covenants, because there's a covenant with David that all the sons of Judah, all David's sons are going to be the rulers of Judah. And then there was a covenant with Levi that all your sons are supposed to have the priesthood. So I'm not saying there's not other covenants we can touch, but when you look at everything from the culture perspective, everything from you that you do, 100 years down the road, his great-great-grand belong to you. That's how it is in Israel. So from a culture perspective, we can pull out Noah's covenant, that I make a covenant with you that you see the rainbow. But really, as a culture, it all belongs to Adam. If that makes sense. Everything really belongs to Adam.
Well, I guess the other thing I wanted to say was, and I see where you're coming from, but when you look at the generations, so say for instance, if we go to after Moshe made a covenant with the children of Israel, and you go 2 or 3 generations out, they're still under that same covenant. They don't reference Adam's covenant.
Right.
They said a covenant made with Moses.
Right.
And I guess, to be fair, if we're talking culture, it was the priests that instructed the people. And so, and I haven't went through the scripts with this, but I'm just making based off of what we're reading in the records.
Right.
When they were teaching the people, they taught it as such.
Right.
That this was a covenant made with Moses. This is what we need to follow, or this is what we're under.
Right.
And so, but yeah, that's all I was going to mention.
Let's go to see if it may make some clarity or may not, but we can, let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32 and 8. And this is good stuff. This is how we sharpen each other, family, because you're going to really have to dig deep to try to win your brothers and sisters inside church are really sick. You want to get down to this minute level that we're doing to reach them. So don't think this is not being fruitful. This is being fruitful. Let's get Deuteronomy 32 and let's just, for the sake of time, let's do 8.
Okay. Verse 8. When the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of children of Yashua. According to who? Yashua.
And when he separated the sons of who?
Adam.
So you see that? That's how, and this is how you're going to have to take your time with your family and friends. And these questions are good. That's why me and you, I said this is good stuff. I knew the family could benefit from this. So yes, we do have markers, or I like that word. We do have covenant bearers. We got Noah, the Noahide covenant. When you see the rainbow, that's a reminder of the covenant I made with Noah, because at that time Noah was that righteous seed. So when we see after the rain, we see the rainbow. That's Yah saying, "Don't worry, this ain't the flood again." So that's a Noahide covenant. And then we got the Abrahamic covenant. So to have a coherent conversation where everyone can understand you, you would use those covenant bearers. But in actuality, like Deuteronomy 32 and 8, when I separated the sons of Adam, I separated the people according to Yashua. If that makes sense. Go ahead, Elder.
No, to what I was saying before about the covenant bearers. So in Jeremiah 31:31, I think it is.
I think I had that one marked too.
So, and I'll read it. Jeremiah 31 and 31 to 32. Behold, the days come, saith Yah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yah. And so the only reason why I brought out this particular precept is, this is Abba speaking, and he didn't say that this is a covenant that I made specifically with Adam.
Right.
He mentions the covenant bearers. And it wouldn't be a stretch to say, so they understood what he meant.
Right.
But that was it. I wanted to mention that earlier, but.
We, for the sake of time, I got it later on in the class, but we're gonna use it today to tie this in. This is good stuff. So let's just finish up with this Abrahamic covenant, and then we're gonna, that one precept to try to, because what you're presenting is good stuff. So to recap, so everyone's back together, they're gonna tell you the Abrahamic covenant is all about faith. And anybody who has faith in the Messiah is a son of Abraham, is the seed of Abraham. Genesis 15:4, Yah made a covenant with Abraham that you're going to have seeds from your own loins, not spiritual converted people, physical seeds coming from your loins. Okay, so that already chops the Christian doctrine that as long as you have faith like Abraham, you're converted. No, this is a physical bloodline that ties back to Abraham, and we are his physical descendants, and we've been born again. Because you didn't grasp this Torah by yourself. The Spirit, someone's got your attention, and you started studying and seeking him by yourself, and that was that spiritual conversion. That was the be born again. Yeah. Moses says, circumcise your heart. The New Testament, and I'm still working on that research, because that phrase be born again is not really dominant in the New Testament. So I'm digging on that. But Moses was telling them, circumcise your heart, and this law is no problem. All of us in here has been circumcised in our heart. Does it mean we're perfect? No. No. But we try to keep this thing the best we can. But Abraham's seed is physical, it's bloodline. Let's continue with this thought. Let's go to, we read they're going to be strangers in the physical land. I'm going to bring them back. Did we finish 18? Genesis 15? Genesis 15.
15, yeah, we did 15:4 and 12 and 18.
Jesus 15, because these brothers are going to be smooth with their words. Okay, let's read 18. Genesis 15 and 18. Genesis 15 and 18.
Verse 18. In the same day that Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto the seed I have given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
So part of the covenant is land. This is not spiritual land.
Right.
This is a physical geographical location for physical people. This ain't no converted people, because where's your converted land at? Their doctrine don't make sense. But again, don't be so, I get riled up because I've been having arguments with these people for a while. So that's why I'm so, overbearing with it. Like, because they come kind of brody. But y'all just take your time with them and remember they're sick. I know they wear them $200 or $300 suits and they got the gators and you think they holy. They're sick people. For you to call the Messiah and the Father liars, you're very sick.
Yeah. You
got to be out your mind to call the Most High a liar. Okay? Right. So let's continue on. Let's go to Genesis 17:21. And another precept just came to me. I don't want to lose it. Genesis 17 and 21. Genesis 17 and 21. Shema. Read, Elder.
Verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
That's a physical man, isn't it? This is not a spiritual. Let me not get ahead of myself, because they say, well, see, Isaac was the seed of promise by faith, so it's by faith. No, Abraham, or that's a physical son. They had physical relations to bring forth Isaac. It's just that he was the son of the promise. But this is a physical son. This is not a spiritually converted son. Everything is a bloodline for the Yashua. Let's get this Genesis 22 verses 15. This Abrahamic covenant is not about faith, it's about a real bloodline.
Shema.
Read.
And the angel of Yahweh called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith Yah, for because thou hast done this thing, hast not withheld thy son, thy only son.
He said, by who? Take that from the top, elder.
Okay. Verse 16. And said, By myself have I sworn, saith Yahweh.
The Most High sworn by himself. Remember Abraham fell asleep?
Mm-hmm.
So to say that it's an Abrahamic covenant is really not matching up with the Most High saying. He says, I swore by myself. So when you tell somebody, if you have some kind of Greco-Roman faith like Abraham, you could be his seed, you tell the Most High he's a liar. Stay far away from me. Stay away from these people. Most High says, Abraham, I swore by myself. You were asleep. You didn't do nothing. That's like you, little Benjamin, being asleep, and you saying over like, son, I make a promise to you, any hurt come to you, I give my life. He didn't have nothing to do with that. You made that promise to him. That's what the Most High is saying. Abraham, I'm swearing by myself.
But according to our culture, it takes two people to make a covenant. So it'll bring up the question, was it really a covenant? I mean, Abraham had to agree to be under that covenant and follow, whatever conditions or ordinances were under that covenant. So, although, and when I say this, I'm not, trying to blaspheme or anything like that.
No, we learn. Most I understand.
But I'm saying that if Abraham went out and said, you know what, I don't want to do this, then, it'd be a whole nother narrative. But he said he made a covenant with him, so we have to, according to what we know, based on the context and putting our understanding around that, that Abraham had to agree with him. Because he said, I made a covenant with Abraham. The Most High don't force anybody to walk under certain conditions.
Right.
And so Abraham had to accept that.
Okay. So how, if I was talking to a theologian, I would say, show me some history where the Most High defines the terms of his covenant. Because me and you are defining covenant by our Greco-Roman understanding. Two people enter a contract, but we got to go back to the Most High. When he made that covenant with Adam in the garden, did Adam agree? Did Adam say, I agree?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not written there. It's
Right.
It's not implicit there.
Right.
But when you go to Deuteronomy, it's implicit.
Like,
He says, will you do these things? And they said, yea, I'm
right,
mine.
right,
Yea, I'm mine.
right.
Then it was so. There's a lot of things that, like you said, even with the sacrifice thing, that's not implicit. Nobody saw Adam as a priest.
Right.
But when you look at when you look at the records, in a broader scope, it had to be that they were priests. When you look at some of the terminology, it's just more explicit in the later chapters because it says thus and thus. So, I mean...
And now that you said that too, what jogged my mind is Adam he didn't physically explicitly say I agree, but by him staying out the garden, that was him accepting the terms. So you have a point there. And
repentance also does that, doesn't it? Because he was very repentant.
Right. He agreed to take his wife Kawah or Eve and stay away from the garden. He didn't try to go back in. He accepted it. So to your point, that's very valid that two people, even though Abraham was asleep, Abraham reward for not withholding his son was the Most High said, I swear by mine, because you have done this thing, you have not withheld your only son, I'm going to make a covenant with you. So Abraham Abraham sort of, because of his trust in the Most High, that able the Most High to enter covenant with him. But then we can't discount those precepts where the Most High says, like, was you there when I fastened the buttons of the world? Was you, like, when Job kept questioning him, the Most High started asking him questions back. Yeah. So when it comes to the Most High, we're communing, we're relating to the Most High with Greco-Roman ideologies. If the Most High says, I swore by myself, well, he don't need Abraham to agree or not, because if the Most High tell you, you're going to be my minister, you got two options. Mm-hmm. You're going to be his minister or you're going to get killed. Right. He don't need you. Once the Most High has set you apart for a reason, like me and Gina, like, I was going to have to be doing this or my life was going to be full of death and destruction. Yeah. The Most High didn't need me to agree. Once he set you apart and picks you to do a task, whether you know it or not, you're going to do his task or you're going to be killed. And living a squalor life, that's death. Yeah. So we're trying to grasp Yah by Greco-Roman standards. He really don't need you to agree to his covenants, but we did. And what you're saying is valid. Adam sort of agreed because he stayed out the garden. He finally stayed away. And then the children of Yashua said all that he said we would do. Mm-hmm. But we really can't. That wasn't a covenant. That wasn't Moses' covenant. Mm-hmm. That was a covenant of the nation. It's just that because our generation, he's the nearest we got, we call it the Mosaic covenant. Right. So me and you can talk and understand each other. Mm-hmm. We say what he gave to Moses. But really, it's the covenant of Yashua. And then how we precept, I got one more to say to the end, but how we precept that was Deuteronomy 32:8. When I separated the sons of Adam. Mm-hmm. Right now, you have sons in your loins, and you got more sons by Benjamin. Mm-hmm. I'm going to save it for the end. Let's stay on this story. I'm going to save that for the end. Anybody else had a comment? No? So let's go over to, we're still running down that this is a physical bloodline to Abraham. It's not no spiritual converted people. Did we do Genesis 22? We just read Genesis 22, and yeah, we did that. Genesis 22 and 15. So now, the next bullet point on your sheet, what are the terms of the covenant? What are the terms of the covenant? Because again, this contract law that these nations use, it's based on our culture. You got to have the parties involved. You got to have the terms of the contract. Then you got to have a remedy for breach. So when you're late on your rent, they can't, according to the law, they can't automatically evict you. You got to have a remedy. Okay, they broke that part of the contract, but now you got to give them a grace period. Now you got to, so let's find out what's the terms of the contract. Let's go to Genesis 26, 1 through 5. Genesis 26, 1 through 5. The contract is a physical contract with the sons of Abraham. Now let's read some of the terms of the contract. Genesis 26 verses 1 through 5. That bar on your sheet is short for Bereshit. Shema? Read.
And there was famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham and Isaac, and went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And Yah appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. In thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
When you go back and grab Genesis, I think 17, it's the same exact language almost he told Abraham. I'm going to make your seed as the stars of heaven. So he's repeating it and with Isaac now. But it's still Isaac. Now we can call it Isaac's covenant, but it's really, he says, because of your father. Now what Elder is saying, we're not talking about Adam no more, but again, these come from Adam, so it's really like he's working with you to get you back to the garden. Every generation, he's working with us to get us back, because we're still serving 50. because we're the generation of the transatlantic, we're serving the slave trade of 400 years. But that's also part of the 5,500 years. We're not going to do 400 years and then another 5,500. So it's all, these covenants are all, what's that word, y'all?
Concurrent? Yeah. Yeah.
These covenants are concurrent. So Elder is correct. We have covenant bearers, but it's all concurrent with the Adamic. I hate using these Greco-Roman terms, but it's all congruent or concurrent with Adam's covenant, if that makes sense. So again, this is a physical landmass that he's telling Isaac, I'm going to multiply your seed as the stars. The seminary preacher will tell you, yeah, but the seed has got to have faith. No, it's physical sons. It's bloodlines. Because again, this is a mirror of what he told Abraham. And he told Abraham, they're going to come from your loins. Not converted people who have faith in a Messiah. Mm-hmm. So their doctrine don't hold up. Let's go, I think that's all we needed there.
Oh yeah, one more verse.
One more, thanks, Elder.
Verse 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
I'm glad you caught that. So when they tell us all you got to do is have faith like Abraham, that's not what the Most High said.
Right.
Everything is predicated on obeying his voice. Mm-hmm. And obeying his voice is his Torah, his instructions. So when they tell us, no, Abrahamic Covenant that we're under is all about faith, and as long as I believe in the Messiah, I'm a seed of Abraham. That don't agree with what the Most High said. You're calling the Most High a liar. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be standing next to no one calling the Most High a liar. So this thing about Abrahamic Covenant is all about faith doesn't agree with the Most High. Con? So let's finish this up with Genesis 28 verses 12 to 15. We're just reading terms of the covenant. Everything the Most High do with us is predicated on you obeying his covenant or his law. Genesis 28 and 12.
Shema. Verse 12. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of YAH ascending and descending on it. And behold, Yahweh stood above it and said, I am Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereupon thou liest, to thee will I give it.
This is Jacob's ladders, family. This is Jacob's ladder. They done made movies about this. But here's the ladder that Jacob is seeing while he sleeps. Read on.
Into thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt be spread abroad to the west and to the east, and to the north and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places, whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee, until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. So the Most High is repeating to Jacob now. What I told your fathers, I'm gonna keep my word to your fathers. I'm gonna multiply you. Your seed is gonna be as the stars of heaven. And even though it's not here to keep my law, we know it's implicit because Jacob obeyed his mother and left the land. After he got the blessing, he obeyed his mom and says, don't worry, Mom. I'm not going to marry the Canaanite daughters. I won't do your heart like that. So the Most High already knew Jacob was going to be that obedient seed. Already in the womb, he chose Jacob over Esau. And the Hebrewism of Jacob's name is Yah is he. And Kob or Quab means to exalt or be exalted. So in the womb, Yah, the Most High, had already exalted the younger over the olders. So Jacob or Yaqub means he that has arisen or has been risen up. It was already ordained. So Yah knew he was going to be obedient, even though it's not here, if you keep my law. It's implicit. It's like me and you telling our sons, cut the grass. And you come home and he got the grass, he got the lawnmower, but he ain't started. And he's like, is you crazy? Like, what is you doing? Well, Dad, you say cut the grass, you got to crank it up first. Mm-hmm. Everything with us, we know the Most High is not going to bless me or do anything for me if I'm not keeping his law. Mm-hmm. It's implicit. So
let's get one more out of here, and then I want to double back and try to get some more meat to the covenant. So let's finish this up with Genesis 35. Genesis 35 verses 10. Genesis 35 verses 10 through 11. Genesis 35 verses 10 through 11, and we'll stop here for today.
Shema.
Shema. Read.
And Yah appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram and blessed him. And Yah said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Yashua shall be thy name. And he called his name Yashua, or Yashua. And Yah said unto him, I am Yahuwah the Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation, a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins.
Out of thy loins. So now again, and that's why, I guess that's why the Most High pricked me, because for him to call us by his name is it's a compliment. So we should be calling each other Yasha'Allah. When we say Israel, Yah's not part of Israel, so that's why we should really start calling each other Yasha'Allah. But he told Jacob again, out of your loins. It's not no spiritual converted people. Rome is not part of this. Russia is not part of this. I don't care how many come to Jesus meetings they have. I don't care how many millions of dollars they raise for those Somali kids. Listen, if you're not from the loins of Abraham, this thing ain't for you. That's just the facts of the case. Now, we're going to stop here and continue on next week. But to add more substance to the conversation we had going and try to get some more, we're going to do two things. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 6. And Elder, I got to pull the, I got it up on here. Let me pull it over to you.
All right.
And if you start to witness to your family and friends, it's nothing. If they stomp you, it's not. Just let me get some. None of us can remember everything, y'all. You have to go back and brush up on stuff. So if you got to go back, tell them, well, you know what? Let me get back to you. That's what you let them know. You let them know. Let me do some research and get back to you because I don't know everything. So I had this for later on, but the conversation was so good and the points was made. This may help bring some more clarity about us being under Adam's covenant and the other covenants running concurrent with Adam's covenant. Let's get 2nd Ezra 6 and 54, I believe it is. 2nd Ezra 6 and 50. You can start at 53, I believe, get some context. I think 2nd Ezra.
Which chapter is this? Oh, first. Okay, chapter 1. Which chapter?
2nd Ezra chapter 6, and I believe it starts at verse 53. And this one you should very well bookmark because this will, I hate to use that combative terms, but this really would cut the conversation short. This would really cut the conversation short.
Also, 6 and 53.
Yeah, 2nd Ezra 6 and 53.
Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creepy things.
So now we're going back to the creation story. On the 6th day, you gave commandments to the beast and the creeping things to bring forth things, right? Read.
And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all.
After the beast you made Adam, of him come we all. Like I was saying, we all come from Adam. So like Elder was saying, those covenant bearers, they come from Adam. They're Adam's sons. So we may refer to it as Abrahamic Covenant or Mosaic Covenant, but we come from Adam. We are all sons of Adam. Read on.
All this I have spoken before thee, O Yah, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
They are what?
They are nothing.
So we all come from Adam. I don't care about their skin color right now. If they're pale white as Casper, they can be dark blue dark as the Sudanese people. If you got 2 eyes, a heart, legs, if you're a human, you came from Adam. Read on, elder.
But be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
The rest of Adam's sons, according to the elders, and according to the Most High, we're going to get it again in the King James so y'all can mark it. According to the text, the rest of Adam's sons are nothing but spit. Read.
But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world?
So who was the world made for?
Yashua.
Yashua. So Adam was the start of Yashua. Y'all knew he was going to have, y'all already had us in mind when he made Adam. So everything runs through Adam. We are the sons of Adam. The rest of the sons of Adam are nothing but spit. Finish that up, elder, please.
How long shall this endure? And that was the last of the last verse, 59.
So we brought this out before, and this is one of the reasons why they don't want these books being read, because they hit you with, we all are sons of God. That's not according to the text. The text says we all come from Adam, but the rest of Adam's sons are spit. Yashua is the chosen seed. So let's get this. We got 2 more precepts, y'all hanging in there, because again, if you bring up 2nd Ezra, because their seminaries teaching tells them that those books ain't canonized, which come from Rome, they're going to say, well, I can't accept that book. Well, let's get a book they do accept. Let's get Isaiah chapter 40. Let's get Isaiah chapter 40.
Or you could just show them where, which book was that got cut off and it resumes right at the very next verse?
Not Enoch, but
It's a female.
it's I start with an M, right? No.
E.
E. It's not Enoch.
Esther.
Esther. Oh,
Esther.
Esther. Yeah, Esther.
Picks right up, like the verse is right on it. Like, explain that, Dr. Seminary. Like,
That's right.
Isaiah 40, because they won't accept 2nd Ezra, right? And if I hadn't told you before, this Ezra in the Apocrypha is the same Ezra in the Bible. It's just being spelled different because of the nations, Latin and Greek. Ezra in the Bible, Ezra, is the same one in the Apocrypha. It's the same person. If y'all didn't know that. So, since they won't accept this one, let's get Isaiah 40, or Yasha Salaki, y'all. YAH. YAH chapter 40, and elder, we can drop down to verse 15 for the sake of time.
Verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are accounted as a small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing.
He's saying the same thing that 2nd Ezra just said. And if I heard, I'm not going to name names, but one Dr. Seminary church says, no, he's talking about the whole world is nothing but a drop in a bucket. I was like, go back up to the top of the chapter. The top of the chapter, he praises Yashua. Let's get, since we here, 40 and verse 9. 40 and verse 9.
Verse 9.
Isaiah 40 and 9. This is because this brother tried to tell me, yeah, that's not talking about that's talking about everybody. To him, it's just a dust from the balance. I was like, and you got a doctorate? Like, are you kidding me? So let's get Isaiah 40 and 9 at the top of the chapter.
Verse 9. O Zion, that bringest good tidings, get thee up into the high mountain. O Yerushalayim, that bringest good tidings, lift up thy voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Judah, behold, your Elohim.
So he just told Yashua, Zion's going to bring forth good tidings. So this is the first book. I told Yashua, Zion's going to bring forth good tidings. Yeah, 40 and 15 to my 9, he's talking about the whole world is nothing but the dust of the balance. You need a refund for your seminary degree. Because he's saying the rest of the nations are nothing but, you know how you ever been to the store with the scales and you flick that dust off so it won't add to your weight?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying the nations are. They're nothing but a drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
What bucket? You know how back in the day we
Yeah.
lizard spit?
Yeah.
That's what, so Isaiah saying the same thing Ezra was saying. So Dr. Seminary, you've been beguiled.
Right.
No nation matters to the Most High. But the other nations, again, second Baruch bears witness, every nation who has not known us, and there are very few, every nation who has not heard us, they're going to have a chance to accept our king and dwell in lands outside, not with us. They're going to dwell outside of Yasharalo. The nations that hurt us, they're going to be in your backyard, in the servants' quarter. That's the book. Yeah. The nations who touched us, you got to serve us now. But the nations who haven't touched us, you can have, whatever land you're going to be at, and you obey our king too. And when we have our Feast of Tabernacles, y'all come to Jerusalem. But you're not going to be in the temple with me and you. That's the book. That's the facts of the case, family. So the last precept to try to add some meat to the conversation is, let's go to Hebrews. Let's go to Hebrews. And bear with me, because I didn't have it marked, but it may add some substance. And I'm looking for that verse where it's talking about that Levi paid tithes through Abraham, even though he was in his loins.
I think it's verse chapter 7.
Chapter 7.
Yeah. 7 and 9.
Hebrews 7 and 9. Thank you, Elder. Hebrews 7 and 9. Shema?
Shema.
Read.
And as I may so say, Levi also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him.
So that's all we needed. Levi was nowhere near Abraham's generation. But what it's saying is because Levi, you got more children in your loins. Y'all need to get busy. But what it's saying is Levi was in the loins of Abraham. But it had to go through, who's Levi's dad first? Mm-hmm. Levi's dad, Levi's granddad. So that's how we say it's really all through Adam. But even though, like elders say, we have covenant bearers, but again, we precept that with 2nd Ezra. All the sons of Adam are nothing. So that's how, if that makes sense, we have covenant bearers that's keeping us going. But really, they all, if that makes sense. So we're gonna stop here today. I thank y'all for hanging in there. We'll continue up with this.
Everything I do is for you. I give you the praise and the glory. You came and you walk in the flesh, an example of love. It is the story. Your words jump at me like a picture. So perfect you are in the scriptures. Your words, they don't change and they don't go void. You are the truth, you deliver. Most high, I honor you. You are my Elohim. You're the creator of everything. There are no others beside you, and they know that's a fact. You are the Redeemer, and they know you coming back. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You gave me my eyes to see, I just cannot express to thee just how much you mean to me. I was lost to deceit. I will never go at it alone, cause you are my force and you are my defender. I have to protect all my members, cause I gotta be in that number. Most high, I honor you. You are my Elohim. You're the creator of everything. There are no others beside you, and they know that's a fact. the Redeemer, and they know you coming back. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Praises to our Lord, 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 praises to our Lord. Most High, I honor you. You are my Elohim. You're the creator of everything. There are no others beside you, and they know that's a fact. You are the Redeemer, and they know you coming back. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Praises to our Lord, 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 praises to our Everything I do is for you. I give you the praise and the glory. You came and you walk in the flesh, an example of love. It is the story. Your words jump at me like a picture. So perfect you are in the scriptures. Your words, they don't change and they don't go void. You are the truth, you deliver. Most High, I honor you. You are my